It didn't happen for me overnight. I think a lot of people, they see somebody get there in like a year, 2 years, and they're like, well, that's not me. So like, I'm just going to give up. The one thing I was never going to do was quit. And I'm like, eventually it will work out. Eventually it will work out. Whether it takes me 5 years to do what it took somebody else to, like, it's still going to take me 5 years. If I can make $70,000 in a month, like, that's stupid.
How do you get clients to trust you and less phone hang-ups, better leads, etc.? We already talked about the lead stuff.
Yeah.
But, well, first of all, if clients are hanging up on you, you're obviously doing something wrong. And I think he's on to something. It is the trust.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, because every client we meet with has filled something out about life insurance, there's no bait and switch. They know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
It does boil down to a few things. One, is it affordable, right? Because no one's going to buy something that's unaffordable, or they will and they'll cancel.
Totally.
And the second one is, do they like and trust you?
Yeah.
If you can master those two things, you can have success in this business as long as you're willing to work, right?
Totally.
So, in your opinion, Austin, how do you build trust with clients?
Yeah. So there's definitely things you can do on the front end that's going to help eliminate more people that's going to give you that objection.
Okay.
So one is they definitely need to have your credentials. Like we have a CRM that it's all built into every time somebody sets an appointment or we put an appointment in the calendar, it'll automatically do that for us. So it takes a little bit of the hard work out of the way.
Okay.
But my first year and a half, every single time I had an appointment or got on the phone with somebody, I sent the credentials myself.
And your credentials, your insurance license, what else? Driver's license?
Insurance. Well, it's actually just you can make your own website.
Okay.
Or you can even make your own business card on Hi, Hello, Me. It's just like a e-card. You can put your picture. You can put a link to a website. You can put you can do an attachment of your license. You can put everything on there and then send that over to your client. Hey, do me a favor real quick, just before we get into all this, go ahead and pull that up real quick. I just text you and then have them check it. I did that for over a year and a half.
You're opening your call with this pretty much.
Yeah. That's how I would open. And then if I ever did get hit with that objection, I would just say, hey, John, do you remember when I sent that to you in the beginning of the call? Did you actually verify that? I do want to make sure you know who you're talking to, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to get a percent of people that's not going to matter what you say. They're going to feel funky about giving you information over the phone.
Right.
So there's a couple of different things I will pivot to do here. I will see if they have an iPhone. If they have an iPhone, I'll hit that FaceTime button right away. Hey, John, you're getting a video. I'm calling you through a video call on your phone. Can you go ahead and pick that up real quick? And then I just do it. I don't even ask them. I don't say, hey, do you have an iPhone? You can see it on your phone.
Right.
I just hit FaceTime. And I'm like, hey, with a big smile or whatever. And instantly, every time, dude, they always have this big smile, no matter if they're throwing objections or whatever. And then they finally can see you. I'll show them my screen. Hey, this is what I'm doing, yada, yada, yada. We have a thing in our office, dude. We have an over 90% close rate on FaceTime calls.
Really?
Yeah, dude. So we're doing that every day.
Yeah.
And then I actually bought my own Zoom URL.
Okay.
They don't have a FaceTime on their phone. Then I just say, hey, hop on this Zoom real quick. Go to your internet, type in this Zoom, and then hop on. And then same thing. So if they don't have an iPhone, I just do the Zoom link.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I bought my own URL. That way it's easy for them. They don't have to type in a meeting passcode and all that because they're a little older. So I'm just like, hey, just type in this URL and you'll see me. Just hit the accept button. So yeah.
Because that's huge. That is the one thing. And again, I've never sold over the phone, but when I think about in-home, it was I'm sitting across from you.
Yeah.
We're making eye contact. I can read your body language.
For sure.
I can tell if you're uncomfortable.
Totally.
I can tell when I show you prices, which one you're more comfortable with, but how you react.
Definitely.
And you don't have those advantages on the phone, right?
Yeah.
What else? So that's if they don't trust you. But what are you doing? You send your credentials.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of rapport building? How do you find any common ground?
For sure.
What do you do on your phone?
For sure. I think in your communication with them, my mindset is I'm never in a rush. Mm-hmm. I'm always on time. I'm never in a hurry. I don't want anybody on the phone to feel like I'm in a rush or I'm in a hurry.
Yeah.
And I think when you're new, you talk so fast.
Yeah.
You're talking so fast. You might think you're slowing down.
Right.
But they're getting hit with it and they're they don't know what to do with it because you're talking so fast, especially if you're just reading something. And through repetition, you'll start to memorize what you're saying. You'll be able to slow it down, not be in a hurry, not be in a rush. And I think that in of itself just builds trust.
Yeah.
When you sound like you know what you're talking about, when you have good pauses, when you ask questions and you let them speak and you don't cut them off. I think just little things like that, just like, oh, like this guy sounds like a good dude on the phone.
Right.
So I think like becoming a person that you'd want to talk to on the phone, because that's an easy kind of self-reflection question. It's like, well, the way that I talk to people on the phone, would I want to talk to that person on the phone?
It's huge.
I hear some of our new agents that just fly through the through the approach.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, I don't even know what you just said.
Right.
So I think when you really focus in on tonality and your ability to communicate it, even while you're reading a script, and God, dude, we're doing telesales, we get a script right there.
Yeah.
We were doing in-home. You don't just get a script
No.
right there. I mean, what are we talking about?
Right. Imagine that. Hold on. Let me check what I'm supposed to say there.
What are we talking about? So, I mean, you get to, don't use it as a crutch, use it as your leverage, but really focus on how you're saying things and trying to slow down. Because I think that's going to give you a lot more of an approachable conversation for somebody on the other side.
Right. You got to find the why, the reason. Shawn used to say it's like a dam. We got to plug the dam. There's a real. We got to put a dam. We got to plug the hole.
Yeah.
How are you doing that on the phone?
For sure. And now we're kind of like we're sniping these whys because we have it more of like a niche.
Yeah.
Instead of it just being like just selling life insurance to anybody, the why is just so different person to person. We're working specifically with veterans, right? And our ad is like about final expense. So when I ask him on the phone, so John, was your main concern, like most veterans, was it just to make sure that the funeral expenses wouldn't fall burden on your family? Like 9 times out of 10, they just say yes.
Right.
Okay, John. And other than funeral expenses, any other concerns? And then they say whatever they want to say.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much it. And then I'll tie it back. Okay. So you just want to make sure that God forbid something happened to you, that this wouldn't fall burden on Carrie. And it's like, he's like, yes. Okay. It's just a lot of yes.
Right.
Okay, great. Now that's a lot. That's a different approach than, it's a little less emotional, if you will.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you still get hit with that emotion, or I'm sorry, that objection, you can still bring it back to the why.
Right.
And say, hey, John, I know earlier we were talking and you were saying you just don't want this to fall burden on Carrie. Why is that? And then get him to talk a little bit more. I do think that's a big part in building trust, is understanding why the heck you're on the phone in the first place.
Yep.
I don't even like to move on into the rest of the conversation. Like I won't even go into health questions until I know what we're on the phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like if they're giving me some generic bullcrap answer, or just like give me a quote, or they're rushing you off the phone.
I just wanted information.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why did you want that information?
Dude, I won't, I don't know how to explain this, but like I will beef with somebody about their why.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like before, I'm not just like giving them information. And I'm not just giving these guys a quote. Like I will literally, bro, like I will sit up in my chair and like lean forward like I'm in battle position.
Yeah.
And like I will beef with somebody before we go into health questions about their why, because I'm not moving on, and there's no point in moving on until I know why the heck we're on the phone. Because guess what happens? They beat you. You just give them the information. It's like, okay, thanks. Have a good day. Click.
Right.
Or they beat you and it's like, okay, great. Can you just send that to me in my email? Oh my gosh. So like, dude, you sometimes, you got to kind of lean up, sit up a little bit, beef a little bit. If you like, just, hey, John, like, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. What's the real reason we're on the phone today?
Right.
Because I can look at all these things, but you ever heard about somebody over promising and under delivering? Okay. So if I just give you information, that's not going to do anything for you because we don't know what you qualify for.
Right.
So I could give you all this information, but if you don't know, then we could come back a week later when you want me to call you, and then we get declined, and this was just a waste of all of our time.
Right.
So I will meet somebody there, and then they're like, like one of our guys was doing a training in my office, and he's like, sometimes when you're on the phone with a douchebag, you got to be a douchebag back.
Yeah.
And then the douchebag is like, oh, you're a douchebag too. Let's be friends. And it's like, those are some of the harder ones.
It is.
Where you're like, some of those guys by the end of the call, they're your buddies. You're talking about this, that, or the other. And you're like, dang, man, like if I didn't kind of like beef up a little bit with them in the beginning, like I would never even had a shot of getting this guy as a client. So,
Right.
I mean, and I genuinely think that like with some of those guys, like they're not just going to let anybody help them get a policy.
Correct.
But you want to be the guy, the underwriter, the salesperson that can handle those situations too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those a lot of times end up being your best clients.
Yeah.
The ones that are the most difficult. You
Yeah.
know?
Totally.
And if we were talking about shortcutting earlier, if you skip that step, everything could be going smoothly.
Yeah.
Right. But you didn't really dig their why out. But, he's not being difficult. I'll just move along. I'll show him
Totally.
and then you're going to get exactly what you said. Hey, can you send that to me?
Yeah.
Hey, back in the day, do you have a card? Like, because you didn't push through and I think the reason why people don't, I believe, is they're afraid they're going to lose the sale.
Yeah.
If I push too hard, I might lose. Well, you already lost. You already lost it.
Yeah.
Because without pulling that out, you got to bring them back. It may have been a week ago when they filled it out online. If you're down old leads, could have been a year ago.
Yeah.
You got to bring them back to that emotion they had when they went online, typed out their information, and said, I need to get some final expense insurance.
Dude, and you don't sometimes you got to remember, we work 100% commission job. I do not get paid to give somebody quotes.
Correct.
Like me beefing with somebody here and there, that's my job.
Yep.
Like that's how I get paid. I don't get paid to just give information and send things in an email.
Right.
I'm 100% commission, just like everybody else. Like I get paid to beef with some guys every now and then. So,
and your job is to protect the client.
Yeah.
You ain't protecting anybody by just sending them a number.
No. And you're wasting your time, and then you're back to square one.
Talk to me about, number one, why it's so important and how to have the proper tone on the phone.
For me, what I just recognize my audience. Okay. Who's my audience? Veterans, right?
Yep.
So your tone in the beginning, they're used to, that type of, energy, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, just strong, right? Strong tone. They're used to kind of being told what to do.
Like direct?
Direct.
Yeah.
Thank you. Direct.
Okay.
I couldn't think of the word. Just being more direct and, just acting like the advisor, acting like you know what you're talking about. Don't get on the phone acting like you know everything or, because they're just, they've been through a lot. They've seen a lot. The stories that they tell me, I mean, it just makes it that much more impactful when, I'm able to find them coverage or, they're so thankful because they have, a lot of medical conditions and, a lot of PTSD stuff. And, they talk about suicide watch and, it's really sad what I talk to these guys about. So as far as tonality, I'm very direct in the first 2 minutes.
Is that something that's are you naturally a direct person, or was that something you had to learn?
I think so.
Okay.
I think honestly managing restaurants helped me with that because
You almost have to be, right?
I mean, these people are running around everywhere. Everybody's, alcohol included. So it's hey, look, you got to whip their ass into shape because they need to listen because you're running a business at the same time.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped for sure. And then as far as, learning what I'm doing now with the veterans, it makes it, and honestly, I love it. It makes it worth it. It's the calls I get excited for, the appointments I have. It's oh, what are we going to talk about today? What am I going to learn today? And even the things that they tell me, life lessons. They're Nina, it's so funny. I'm thanks, Paul. It is. It's really, really great.
That is honestly, a lot of people ask, when we start talking about in-home, do you miss being in sales? I'm yes and no. The biggest thing I miss, though, is that. I always say, if you could, teleport me to someone's house, put me at the table, and have me talk to them, I'd do it all day. Yeah. That was the part that I enjoyed the most because, in an average day, and even more now with on phone, but I was meeting 10, 15 brand new people. You sit down, talk to them for a half hour or so, and you do learn a lot about them.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things, when I first started selling final expense, I struggled because I was in my early 20s and I'm meeting, 70, 80-year-olds. And I was always taught, respect your elders, right? So I would be afraid to be direct with them. But then one day something clicked where I started to and realized these guys have really thick skin. What I'm saying is not going to offend them or piss them off. They've been through some shit.
Yeah.
And they appreciate it a lot more.
Yep.
So I love that you said that. That is so key because they're looking for someone to be direct.
Yep.
They don't want you to beat around the bush.
No, and they say it too on the phone.
Yeah.
All right, let's just get to it. I'm perfect.
Right.
Can't wait. Exactly.
Like how long are you actually building rapport in the beginning, or is that something you do throughout your phone
Like
call?
I said, I definitely wait for the appropriate time to do that.
Okay.
Right? So it's like I need to set me up as the one in control of the phone call, right? Because if I'm not, they're just gonna roll all over me.
Sure.
I just want quotes. I want information. I don't want this. I want this. And then it's what am I gonna say? Okay, well, here, $50 for 10,
Right,
whatever
yeah.
it is. It's just like, no, like, and then, setting the table, right? Which is, we had a caller, Rami, I think his name was, he was incredible.
Yeah.
And I went back and I watched his Zoom over again, and
Rami Hamadi?
yeah.
Yep.
He's
awesome.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I watched his Zoom over, and I took a lot from that, right? Like, okay, this is what we're gonna do today. This is kind of how it works.
Yeah.
On top of the education piece, because Mike is really big on just educating them first,
Right.
and like finding the why and kind of figuring out before we just kind of throw out numbers. And,
Okay.
and-
Well,
and
let's
things like
go.
that.
We don't have to go like word for word, but bring me through your process a little bit from the minute you get someone on the phone. Like, what is your immediate goal? What are you trying to establish once you have a client on the phone?
So just who they are, making sure they're the right person, make sure they know that they're speaking to the right
Yeah.
people as well. I'll go through every single thing on their lead form. Name, state, date of birth,
Yeah.
branch. Thank you for your service, means a lot to us here. What we do too is we educate ourselves on what the VA has to offer, plus a private
that's
market.
huge. Yeah.
So we bring that up. We're
Okay.
like, hey, look, we'll again go through that. We'll ask them for their service-connected disability rating, because guess what? That has to do with their health. What does
Right.
life insurance have to do with,
Yeah.
right? Health. So that kind of rolls into the health aspect of the call.
Okay.
But as far as like, the beginning, it's just really establishing who we are as an agency and why we're the right people to speak with, and who and what we're doing, and why we work with veterans and their families. And we're a transparent resource for you.
Yeah.
We there's misleading ads. There's junk you guys probably see every single day, and you're bombarded with 100 ads daily. I always say I'm thankful that you came across ours. We've helped thousands and thousands of you guys, and we just want to make sure, again, your family's protected properly, and then we go into the call.
Got it.
You know?
Now, from there, is that where you're finding their why?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then exactly.
Okay.
How
do you do that?
So, just very direct. Who
Yeah.
are we looking to protect? Who is this going to go to, on the worst day of their lives,
Yeah.
essentially? They tell us, okay, then do you have anything put in place? Yes or no. Then you kind of go from there. If they do, okay, perfect. Review it. Okay. If they don't, okay, well, now we got to figure out why you don't have any yet. Why haven't you done this yet? Why have you waited so long? And what would it look like if, something happens to you next week? Just asking a lot of questions that are hard to answer.
You need to believe that before they even say hello on the phone. I think a lot of agents that struggle, they're defeated before they even pick up the
Yeah.
phone because of their mindset.
I hear agents all the time. They're, they call. They're expecting people not to answer.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, what leads are you calling? Okay, you're calling vet leads or FEX? Vet. Okay, why don't you have your vet script out? Mm-hmm. If you know you're dialing vet leads. So
Right.
it's like you got to set yourself up. And then if you're going to constantly have that mindset where nobody's going to answer, dude,
Right.
nobody's going to answer.
Exactly.
I'm like, it's really that simple.
It is.
It's really, really that simple. And
Yep.
I'm just like, okay, they're going to answer.
Right.
Have write it down.
Yep.
I want 5 conversations today. I want 10 pickups, whatever it is. Like, write it down. Because
Yeah.
if you're just sitting there dialing with no intention,
Right.
like, it's game over for you.
One of the biggest, I guess, game-changing phrases that I added early on was, here's what we're going to do today. Like right off the bat, because
love that,
you got to establish the control. And however you say, but like, I'm calling you, it's my appointment, you ask for help. Why would I be waiting for you to give me the okay to move to the next step, right? Like you sit there waiting, like, is it okay if we take? No, here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to find out what you're eligible for. I'm going to show you some options. You're going to pick something that fits your budget. And then I'm going to help you apply.
Talk about simple.
In a nutshell, right? And I'm sure that everyone has their own, but in a
Yeah.
nutshell, that's what you're establishing early on. So then when things come up like, hey, what's your social? They're not surprised. Why? Of course I'm asking your social. We got to run your prescription history to make sure everything you're telling me is true. So what is it?
Right.
Hey, what accounts is going to come out? Have you got the bank and a routing number for that right now? instead of like, would it be okay if I got your account?
Right.
Then you're making them nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, your tone, your attitude throughout the entire appointment really dictates their attitude, right?
Key. Yep. And we always talk about it too, right? Like when we're on calls, like we can feel them listening to us. We can feel them locked in to what we're saying. I mean, I know you did in-homes, but on the phone, me and Mike talk about, we can feel them locked in. And they're listening to every single word that we're saying. Yeah. When it comes to the education piece, right? Because they don't know a lot of things that we're saying.
Right.
And they're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You had no clue about any of this. Dude, no. I'm like, yeah, I didn't think so. That's why we're here. That's why we exist. Right. That's why we're on this call today. So you can get this knowledge, and then we'll figure out what you're, exactly like you said, presumptive language. Yeah. And then we're going to figure out what you qualify for, what you're eligible for, whatever the step would be.
It's weird if I were to call a lead that somebody filled out, knew it was life insurance, and then acted like they didn't want to buy a policy. Like, that's strange, right? I mean, they filled all this out. Does that mean you're going to help every single person? No. Yeah. But I mean, if you get 10 people on the phone right now on average, how many are you helping with the policy?
I mean, 10 people, I would probably 5 or 6.
At least 5 or 6, right? Yeah. Which is, and pretty good numbers. I mean, but the point is you have what they're looking for. So it shouldn't be this like asking for permission and is this okay? Assume it is until it's not.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely hard to get, it's hard and important to get past that intimidation part of it. Because it is, right? Sure. It's super intimidating to ask for that conversation. But again, that's why we have the at-bats. And we always say the more at-bats you have, the easier that's going to get. Correct. Because you're going to have way more, you're going to figure out your tone. Yep. You're going to figure out what the next question is going to be. And then you're going to figure out when to ask them for all that info. Right. Like it just comes with it.
Absolutely. And these are people that they want you to lead them. If they knew how to do this, they wouldn't have filled. He would already had insurance. Yeah. And I think that's something that's lost a lot of times is this is a small percentage of the population. 98% of the people are not filling out these forms, filling out stuff online. This is a small percentage that goes, yeah, I need some help with this. Yeah. And if you can make that switch and understand that everyone who's on the other line of that phone is someone that's looking for help from you, they cannot figure this out on their own. And then the other thing is when you set up your appointment properly, you don't deal with a lot of objections. Mm-hmm. I would assume, and I haven't asked you this already, but I would assume that you dealt with more objections early on than you deal with now.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Right. Yeah. Because, I mean, in the beginning of the call, does your wife know you're on the phone with me, Paul? Yeah. Right? Does she know that we're talking about this? Right. Just little things like that. And, we talk about all that stuff, too, because it's like, let's get away from the objections. Let's get them out of the way early. Right. Because if that's the case, no, she doesn't know I'm talking. Okay, well, can you make a decision with that? Like, and then you're kind of fact finding there too, because it's like I can't waste my time if you're just going to tell me at the end of the call you need to speak with your wife. Like, we're not doing that today. Nope. We're here for a purpose, and again, that's all part of learning and just getting used to it.
There's 2 days that stand out to me, and I'm sure as I go through, you'll remember this. One was the first day I dialed. So I was at my house, Squire Street, New London, where one of the first places. I remember the old. Yeah, the downstairs place was decent. Then you go upstairs, you're like, oh shit, they're in the middle of remodeling. Yeah, we're in the middle of remodeling for years. But you had you'd give me the batch of leads, Shawn. I went to the office. You hand me a stack of leads, and this is how true to this whole mindset stuff is not a facade. You believe this to your core. 100%. You told me it's a great batch of leads.
Nobody can convince me otherwise.
Yep. So you hand me a great batch of leads, dude. If you can't make sales on this, you should quit. I was like, oh, shit, okay. So I go home. I was still working my job. I think maybe it was a Saturday morning. I'm on the phone dialing, and you said, make some dials and then call me and let me know how you did, right? So, dude, I probably dialed 20, 30 times, bro. I talked to like 5 people, got cussed out, yelled at, hung up on, and I'm like, this sucks. So I call you, and I'm expecting what you were just saying. Like, I'm going to tell you, the client said, I want to think about, or I'm not interested. You're going to tell me the best rebuttal. And I'm sure you probably remember this. You said, I do. Go to your bathroom. I'm like, what am I take the stack of leads, hold them up. You got a mirror? I'm like, yeah, I got a mirror. Hold it up in front of the mirror and tell yourself you book everyone you speak to, that they all asked you for help. You said, go say that out loud and then get back on the phone. And I was like, we had just met each other. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? What the hell is he talking? But I did it. And it helped. Like, I'm not going to say, I magically started. But that was the first step. There's more after that, right? We talked about controlling those first few seconds, having the right posture. But I needed to believe that, number one, I could book appointments before I even had anything else to talk about, right? That was one. And I'm glad you're here because I tell that story a lot here, so y'all know I'm not full of shit. No, it really happened.
That was a true story. And
then the other one, I had been, I don't know, selling 3-4 months. I was selling $20K a month. Back then, that's like 40 now, right? Mm-hmm. But I was doing well, and this business is a roller coaster. You used to say that all the time. Don't ride the roller coaster. The highs, the lows. Well, dude, I was riding the shit out of the highs because I had some good weeks, and I'm like, I close everyone. I say all this stuff. And I had a day where I had 10 appointments booked, and, dude, every single one of them was there, and I closed none of them. And you remember I'd call you after every appointment. Yep. By, like, the third one, you're like, you closed something? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, the door to my car. And then you stopped answering.
Yep.
And then we met at the office the next day. And I'm thinking, we're going to sit down. We're going to analyze all this. And you're like, dude, just get some more leads and get back out there. You know how to sell.
Correct.
And I'm like, but to kind of what you were just saying, I'm making it this big deal. Like, dude, I went 0 for 10. Well, yeah, dumbass. You also wrote like $200K this past year. Correct. You know what you're doing. You just had an off day because you're riding the road. But it was, you always were able to kind of take all this and just break it down and refocus. But it all started here.
You know, I always say those that can't manage micromanage. And all the poor managers I had and any opportunity I was in or coaches I had, they didn't know what to do. So they would micromanage really simple, stupid shit because it made them feel good.
Yeah.
And they wanted to feel valuable. And I was like, I could definitely, and also, can you imagine what I'd be saying to you about how I don't believe in you if I started blaming the client?
Right.
Let's sit down and talk about what the client needs to do differently as opposed to, Mike, you're good. You can be good. You've done it. You got way too excited when you made some sales. That's not my fault. It's yours. Not the client's fault either.
Right.
You obviously didn't do the same things you're doing before. Clients didn't magically decide they're not going to die. And you had to figure your shit out. Mm-hmm. And guess what? You're going to figure it out. It's that whole adage that a businessman or businesswoman becomes a businessman or businesswoman when they get out, they look around, it's not going good, and they're like, wait a minute. I got to fix it. Like, wait a minute. Wait, ain't nobody coming to fix, like, me not answering the phone was, bro, you need to fix it.
You knew I was calling.
Of course I did. I knew you hadn't closed. You weren't gonna. You would, if you were closing, I know you would have just kept closing.
Yep.
Come into the office and been like, hey, I wrote 5. Like you would have done. You were calling because you continue to call me. Could tell me, okay, well, I'm not going to keep talking to you about you not closing. I'm mad at you. You need to figure your shit out. And I think that's the thing that you realize that I was reading this a long time ago, and it was about development and it was a psychology course I was in. But it was that, like, the greatest gift you can give somebody is the ability to let them know they can figure it out on their own. You're there, like you're watching, but, dude, you can get through this. Because I think so many people get into micromanaging and over-teaching, and then you have another situation. Now what happens? Now, every time you don't make a sale or something goes wrong, I'm going to identify the problem with the client, and I'm going to fix that for you. Well, what about you?
Right.
How the hell you fix you? Like, I'm fixing them. How about you? Okay, I didn't say everybody's going to buy. How about you? Did you have enough appointments? Why did you get so excited? Why did you and we probably didn't approach it the way you approached it before because you had made a bunch of sales and you're on top of the world and you're making money. So like, oh my God, and that was the thing about insurance for me that I loved was, and it sounds weird that you say I loved it, but it was that these are just unsecured loans because the policy said to make it though. So I'm like, dude, I'm going to keep working because if y'all are telling me 30% of it's going to fall off within a year, that means 70% of it's my money. And I know I got paid all that money, but that means that I could owe that money back when they cancel. Dude, I'm not going to let up because that's how people die in this business. Like, I'm not going to let up. It's not going to happen. If you want the process to be seamless and as easy as possible, you know, that whole you can never get your first impression, that's all true, right? Like but Mike, I set myself up for success by exuding confidence. It's confident to get out of the car door like, hey, man, like, I'm in charge. It's confident to be like, hey, throw a wave to the house like I see you. And if they're in there and they were thinking about not opening the door, like, shit, he saw me. So it kind of screws them up there, too. You're like, hey, what's up? And they're like, dude, how's this guy see me? I'm hiding behind the couch. And then it's like, and to walk up and not knock on the door like this.
Yeah.
To knock on the door. You know, and sometimes people are like, God, calm down.
Yeah.
Thought it was the police. I was like, no, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me, man. You knock confidently. You carry yourself with confidence. And I think that if you do that, you work a lot of the battle up yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, like, you're already in a position where now half the battle's won before it gets started. Because now they're thinking, dude's confident, Dude's in charge. He's here to protect me. I asked for help. Like, he's already here. He's going to help me.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to you go like limping in there without confidence, you're set up to fail.
Right.
And now what I got to teach you is so much harder, like on the phone. You know, it's so simple. And I'll still, to this day, people want, I'm like, okay, I always say it to you. You won't do it, but I'm going to tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, can I speak to Mr. Sizer as opposed to Mike? The magic of having 10, 15, 20 seconds of you thinking you know me and you just continuing to drop your, why would you be defensive? You think you know me. You're thinking, hell, why don't I know him? Hey, man, it's Shawn. I'm getting back to you, bro. You still think you know me. What is it? You're like, yeah, man, what's up? I'm like, hey, I'm getting back to you from. Now you're still like from, but he's getting back to me. He said my name. He didn't say Mr. He's not a telemarketer. I think I know him. Boom, I'm verifying. But now I have a lot of grace built up with you.
Right.
So even though I'm like, yeah, now I got this form here, your guard's down. Now you almost got to fake it back up to the top, as opposed to, can I please speak to Mr. Sizer? Screw you, because you're having a bad day, you're pissed off, and I'm done. So listen, the rest, it's all important. The whole appointment's important.
Sure.
But you can never get that part back.
Yeah.
Dude, when I knocked on doors, they opened them, I had a lead. I'm like, hey, I'm here for our appointment. Whether I talk to them or not, you want me to take my shoes off? Dude, they're like, yeah, I get. Did you call? I'm like, I'll take him off. My mom always told me to make sure I asked, which is true, to be respectful. Because my mom was like, don't be disrespectful. It's somebody else's home. And before you know it, I got my shoes off. I'm walking to the dining room table.
Mm-hmm.
He's calling his wife. He's like, did you talk to this guy on the phone? I'm like, y'all fill this out, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, like the confidence that you exude will give the clarity and the comfort to the client.
Previous company, I really struggled just to make any money. Like
Got
I was
it.
very, very broke. I left a $55,000 a year corporate job to basically make $30,000
Got it.
in commission. But I was broke. I went
Yeah.
into more debt. It was just, but I learned so much. And I'm so grateful for my year at that other company because that's where I like really learned how to work.
Yeah.
And like the pressure rises and falls on me.
Right.
So when I came here, I think more struggled working in homes because at the beginning I was having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like there was no leads in Arizona where I was at. You'd have to refresh every 5 minutes in the
Yep.
CRM to get 5 leads at a time
Yep.
just to dial for half a day. So we moved to Northern California.
Okay.
And counties are smaller. There was more leads
Yeah,
available.
yeah.
So we did that, but it's like, it's Northern California. I've never lived anywhere but Arizona, so it was fun for me too.
Okay.
I'd work really hard for 2 or 3 days, sell 10 grand, deposit 10 grand.
Yeah.
Because America would deposit it 2-3 days later,
Sure, yeah.
right away.
Yep.
And then I would treat it like a vacation. Then I wouldn't work for
okay.
3 or 4 days. So it took me a long time to figure
Be
that
consistent,
out
yeah.
and build momentum. I didn't think of it like a business. So I didn't have money for leads. I got one charge back. It's like I was constantly battling myself in that first year.
You were the agent that we talk about on this podcast all the time. Like seriously, like get leads every week. Don't stop. But you're a testament to it. So like they know I'm not full of shit when I'm saying this. If you take your foot off the gas, it's going to slow down your momentum, and it's going to kill your consistency. And you're going to be doing this the whole time. You have money, then you're not. You have money, you're not. So you live that for how long?
Probably my first year and a half.
Seriously?
Yeah, honestly. Well, my first year I did everything in person.
Yeah.
My husband went back to military, went to training, and
Okay.
at that time is when a lot of people started to transition to virtual.
Got it.
And so then
You did some virtual at the other company, right?
yeah, over
telesales.
Zoom. Over
okay.
Zoom. Very different than just a phone call.
Right.
Very different. And it was a different sale. We're selling life insurance, I was actually trained not to say the word life insurance in my previous company.
Really?
We were not allowed to say life insurance.
Couldn't say life insurance.
We had to say permanent benefits.
Permanent benefits. No, like if I said the word life insurance in my script, they were like, no, go back. Like seriously, we could not say
like I
it.
used to say life insurance on a presentation, be like shit, benefits, permanent benefits,
Benefits.
not life insurance.
Permanent benefit. Wow.
Yeah.
Ain't that some shit?
Yeah.
And you weren't with Jay originally.
No.
You were with another individual, another group.
Yeah.
How long? And they left, right?
Yeah.
So how long were you with them before they left?
4 years.
4 years?
The entire time I was
The
here.
entire time, okay.
Yeah, and so I knew Jay. I've always known Jay,
Yeah.
but Jay and I we were both working like equivalent, if you will. We were both direct
Okay.
to the same person, and so like
At the old company.
here
you were. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
here. So I've known him since the beginnings.
Got it.
Yeah.
Since I was 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I actually, and I say this to Jay all the time, I used to like I would call him for advice, like, hey, I respect you. You're so young. Look what you've done. But I would joke with him. I'd be like, you and I would absolutely never work well together. Like you're the last. We would just like butt heads.
Yeah.
We're so different. And I tell people now, I'm like, Jay's probably one of the best business partners I've had in this business. Like in the almost 6 years I've had a license, which is crazy. But he's also grown and developed so much too, which is cool to see.
Well, dude, we live in the same apartment complex, and she saw that I would always get eviction notices because I'd have 20 guys in a 2-bedroom apartment. So they're threatening to evict me every week because I kept air mattresses everywhere.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so she was there for like all of that.
Yeah.
Got it. Now, when this group left, why didn't you leave?
Didn't make sense logically.
Okay. What part about it didn't make sense?
I think for me, I struggled so much at the beginning of this business. I had a lot of ups, a lot of downs, and I've learned a lot from my own mistakes, which I'm also very grateful for on a sales side, on a building a business side, all the things. And so I finally got to a point in my business where all of last year, it's like I built the foundation, and I actually had a very solid foundation of my business. And it was consistent. We weren't growing, but we were consistent. And it was the first time in 5 years I'm like, well, I'm consistently making money. I'm consistently profitable. And now I'm bringing people in, and they're consistently profitable too. So when I took a step back and I looked at that, I'm like, why would I risk all of that, number one, but why would I also put all of them at risk, number two, for something that nobody's actually like proven works?
Right.
And I think when I took a step back and I looked at it, it's like on paper, there was nothing that was different that was going to be better. And if anything,
so
I was looking
wasn't
at
an
paper,
improvement.
there was nothing. It was going to actually take away. When I was looking at it, I'm like, well, this is actually I'm going to lose money doing this.
Right.
This doesn't make any sense, simply put.
What's been your best year with us so far?
It will be this year.
It'll be this year. What do you make this year?
I think last month I made like 70,000.
Made $70K 1 month.
Yeah.
And your previous job,
I was not even making that much.
55K was the best?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which again, I mean, hey, it's not a bad job, but think about what you did in a year, you just did in a month.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. And it didn't happen for me overnight. I think a lot of people expect this business, like they see, I don't know, somebody get there in like a year or 2 years, and they're like, well, that's not me. So like, I'm just going to give up.
Right.
Like, I'm like, the one thing I was never going to do was quit. And I'm like, eventually it will work out. Eventually it will work out. Whether it takes me 5 years to do what it took somebody else to, like, it's still going to take me 5 years if I can make $70,000 in a month. Like, that's stupid versus like, even if it took me 10, it's crazy. There's nowhere else. I was telling actually somebody on a hiring call earlier this week, I was like, my income has never gone backwards in this industry. It never has. Even if I started making no money, 30 grand a year, it's like, yeah, I went backwards from my corporate job, but after that, I've never, ever, ever gone backwards in income.
Yeah.
Like at the very least, I've doubled it every single year, which is insane. You cannot do that anywhere.
No.
And then eventually you get to a point where it's just like, okay, well, there's literally nothing else that I could go do to make this kind of money. So you stop complaining, you suck it up, you figure it out, because like there is no other opportunity that you can do that.
Yeah, that's a good point, because like I've seen people make 20 grand a month and then quit. I'm like, dude, you make 20 grand. Like when I made 10 grand my 1 month, I'm like, oh my God, I'm sold for the rest of my life.
Right.
I'm like, I just did that. But I've seen people make 20, 30, and then like they get a little bit of chargebacks and they quit, and then they go back to 9 to 5. I'm like, there's no way you've seen that much money in your life in a month just to go backward. It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling.
It's insane. But I love your story, because we have a lot of big hitters. I had Ronnie Salem here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And dude, he's like the fastest he's the
a
fastest
beast,
to everything. He's the fastest to agency hall of fame.
beast.
He's a beast. But not everyone is going to move at that speed, and that's okay.
Yeah, everybody's got different stories.
Yeah.
Like different backgrounds, different stories.
Absolutely. Like that's the best of the best. But if what he did in 3 years takes you 5, 6, 7 years, who cares?
100%.
Why does it matter?
I never compared my journey to somebody else's.
No. Because it's like, there's money to be made at all levels.
Yeah.
Like, dude, when I quit my full-time job was the first time I got a paycheck here with a comma in it. They're talking like $1,300. I'm like, well, shit, if I did that part-time, right? I was in construction. I'm working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, right? And it was some of it was hourly, some of it was based off the job, the contract, but there's so many variables. Hey, it rains 3 days, we can't get out there. Shit, now the lumber can't get delivered because now we're home. There's no money coming in unless you're there. Like, dude, the minute I got a $1,300 commission check from Mutual Home, I was like, dude, I'm out.
It'll be a piece.
Because if I can do that off of a couple sales, imagine what I could do full time.
Dude, I 100% agree with that.
You know, and it's And your path is your path. But like, take a step back and look, are we getting better? Are we going backwards? Then there's a problem. But if we're consistently moving forward, who's to say that what you did should have, you should have did it quicker? Who cares? You made $70K last month, which is 20 something more than what you made in a year prior to this. And you went to college.
Yeah.
We had guys, I didn't go to college. You go to college? No. I drove by Yale a lot. It's in New Haven. Yeah. They probably won't let me in there. But I'm like, now I make more than most people in that building.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it's crazy.
I was like the type of guy that was, when I was broke in the industry, like paycheck to paycheck, just because I was putting money into it.
Yeah.
I was just grateful to be able to go to the gas station, go get an energy drink and a candy bar, and nobody had to tell me what to do. Like I always tell my guys, I'm like, dude, when you're frustrated, just go to the gas station and then be grateful that be grateful that you didn't have to ask anybody. Because the more you're grateful for the small things, the more you're gonna be blessed when you get the big things. Yeah. So I was like, dude, like you guys might be broke, but nobody's gotta tell you what to do.
Right.
So like you take those small amount of freedom that you have and go build more bigger, build bigger freedom with it.
100%. Dude, I'm with you because that was part of my issue. I hated being told what to do.
Yeah. It's like if you're having a bad day, you can't go to the gas station. But like, dude, you're on the clock. What do you mean go to the gas station?
Yeah. Like, no, hey, I want to run home. I got shit to do. My kids got, dude, I don't miss anything anymore.
Yeah, I'd say.
But for a while I did. And I think that's the piece that a lot of people miss out is when you have your own business, you're independent. I got freedom. Well, yes and no.
No, 100%.
You got freedom from a boss telling you what to do, but you damn sure better build your own schedule and be a slave to your schedule.
Yeah, I agree. And the people like I always tell them, like, so I'm not 1099. I'm like, dude, you are, but you think Elon Musk is like, oh, I have freedom. I'm like, no, dude, the dude still works 100 hours a week. Like,
correct.
Like you have what freedom means is you can do what you want when you want.
Yes.
Freedom doesn't mean you just do nothing.
Correct.
Like it's just you can do what you want when you want. Freedom's not like you just do nothing. That's not how life works.
100%. All right, so you're with this big team. They're a big team, bunch or a handful leave, and you realize like, dude, we were getting emails like, I don't want to leave. Like, bro, you don't have to leave. No one said you got to leave.
Yeah.
But then you moved over working with Jay. So really, what I want to spend next few minutes talking about is what did you do? Whether it was together, combined. How did you go from? You said you were hovering 150 a month. What'd you do last month?
A little over 500,000.
500,000. So I mean, it's a big jump, right?
Yeah.
What do you think you'll be at by the end of the year?
Over $1 million.
Over $1 million. That's your goal.
Easy.
Easy. I love it. So what changed? I'm sure it didn't happen overnight, but what changed? What changes did you make to go from that 150 to now 500 a month?
Yeah, a couple things. Biggest thing was marketing.
Okay.
That was something previous to even me working directly with Jay that he would always tell me like, hey, the one thing that like you're not good at is marketing. Like you're not doing it at all. You're not even trying.
You weren't good because you weren't doing it.
You weren't good because you're not doing it.
Yeah. Why weren't you?
I don't know. It's a great question.
Yeah.
I think in my mind, I thought that I was, or I'm like, like I can post on Instagram or whatever. It just wasn't consistent.
You're like casually posting.
Yeah, I'm like, here and there we talk about the business. Or I'm like, I'm hiring, 2 to 3 new sales reps this month.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. You were
But
the
not
equivalent to, hey, I showed up, I called the 10 people that never answered, but I dialed Nicolette, I did.
Yeah.
You were doing that on social.
I also think I was like begging people to come work with me is how it felt. Where I was like, I see people still do it too. Where I post like, hey, I'm hiring like 2 to 3 sales reps this month. It's like everybody knows that you're not. Like
right.
Everybody knows you're hiring everybody.
Everybody knows you're not. Like it's not that like I'm only taking 2 people. Like people see right through it. So it wasn't very genuine. But marketing was the biggest thing. So I actually. Like I've never had a problem spending money, and that goes with my business too. So the first thing I did was I hired somebody to help me with marketing. I hired somebody to film content for me. I pay them now. They help me manage my social media. They came up with a whole content plan. So that was one of the biggest things to now create this like acquisitional growth. That was something Jay was like, hey, you have had organic growth, but your organic growth is stopped. Yeah. That's why you're stagnant. You need acquisitional growth now. So I'm like, okay, makes sense. So I started putting money into it, being a little bit more loud on social media. I also just think like a switch just slipped for me where I'm like, I just don't really care what people think. And there was some part of me, I think previously that, it's like uncomfortable to post on social media. What are people I went to high school going to think of me or this person or that person? I'm like, I just don't care. Yeah. And it's seeing like me like organically recruiting people from social media, bringing them in, watching this business change their lives. And I think ending last year, seeing, there's a couple people on my team, like seeing where they were before and after 1 year in this business of them just selling insurance. They didn't build a team. They weren't like just selling insurance. How much that changed their life. Like, I was like, okay, cool. Why? I don't give a fuck about posting on social media. Right. If I can find 1 or 2 people, it's going to actually change this much. Yeah. So it was just a mindset shift. Also, like just looking at it from a business instead of just like a fun sales job that I was doing. And so that like all of a sudden now it's like, okay, now these people are coming in and it's like I knew how to sell. I've developed agents before, but I wasn't marketing and therefore I wasn't hiring.
Yeah.
So it's like those two pieces were missing.